Welcome to Talk the Talk. I'm Nick Corrino.
And I'm Brandan Ouadi.
On today's show, we have Principal Kristin Smetana, author Donna Baer, and crooner Crane Baer.
We will be right back with the show after these messages.
Welcome back to Talk the Talk. With us right now is Miss Smetana.
Thank you for joining us on the show.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
So we were going to be talking about your personal life. What kind of hobbies do you do?
Well, I think my hobby right now is completing my coursework. So I'm working on my PhD for educational psychology. So I don't have a lot of free time. So I find that anytime I have, I'm doing homework just like you are probably doing. But I also enjoy being outside, playing volleyball, reading. So I just don't have a lot of time for those right now.
Yeah, you said you like doing volleyball?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fun. Have you ever gone to the beach down in Chicago?
Not to play volleyball, no. I've never been down there yet.
It's fun. You should try it sometime.
Have you gone to any specific places that you enjoy going to play volleyball, or?
Well, in college, I was the manager for the women's volleyball team at U of I. So I got to go on all of their away games. So I got to visit all the different Big Ten schools and then other schools that we played at as well. So that was a really neat experience.
Wow.
So I'm guessing volleyball is your favorite sport?
It's my favorite sport to play. It's not my favorite sport to watch.
What's your favorite sport to watch?
I love watching Blackhawks. I took my dad to a Hawks game. We got really great seats, and so I kind of got hooked into the game. So I enjoy now watching them on TV or going to the game. I also enjoy March Madness and college basketball.
Oh,
Those
cool.
are by far my two favorite sports to watch.
Yeah, March Madness is always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You get to pick out your brackets and everything.
Yeah.
What's the closest you've gotten on the March Madness brackets?
I'm usually not that good because I always hope that Illinois will go far in the tournament, and they usually don't, but I feel like I always have to root for my alma mater.
I'm always like, I gotta get who's like the top, and I'm like, I want to win. My whole family has like a betting thing. Do you have like bets with those or no?
We have a competition within my family just for bragging rights to see who's the best, but everybody takes a different approach. One year my mom went after the uniforms that she liked the best. She didn't do very well.
My mom did the same exact thing actually.
Yeah.
What do you like to do during the summer?
During the summer I love to travel. So 2 summers ago I went to Australia and New Zealand, and then last year I went to Germany, Prague, Krakow, Budapest, and Austria. So this coming summer I'm going on a Scandinavian and Russian cruise.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to there?
I haven't done a lot of research on the different countries and the sites that we're visiting, but I'm really looking forward to Russia. I think that's one of the places I've always wanted to go that I haven't been yet.
Yeah. Are those other places that you have been to, like Germany, what was it like there?
Well, last summer each city was just very different. You know, Prague was very old European, and when we went to Krakow, they're still trying to rebuild from World War II, and so they're having a hard time recovering in terms of their infrastructure, whereas Prague wasn't really bombed during the war, so a lot of it was still intact. So it was really neat. Each city was very different from the next.
Cool.
Okay.
What are some restaurants you like to go to?
My favorite restaurant's probably Cooper's Hawk, and there's one in Burr Ridge, and there's one in Naperville. And then I also like Wildfire.
What are those like? I haven't heard of them.
I like them because I am gluten-free, and so they have a big gluten-free selection, and it doesn't feel like you have to make choices. A lot of the things on that menu are really similar to what's on the normal menu. So.
Oh, cool. What kind of food do you like?
My favorite thing, and anybody who knows me at RB knows that every day at lunch I eat a salad. So I love salad and I love fruit. Those are probably my 2 favorites.
Yeah, salads are really good.
Oh, when did you start eating salads? Like, have you been eating salads basically like your whole life, or have you gotten into it like a few years ago or a few weeks ago, or?
I have always liked salad. My family eats really healthy, and so those are just kind of what we experienced growing up. And so, you know, I just think that it's a light meal, and then you can kind of have some splurges later and, you know, have ice cream or pizza or anything else that you want after that. So
Do you have anything like chicken in your salads, or do you just have like salad with like some mayonnaise, or just a plain salad?
I usually have salad with chicken and tomatoes and carrots, and some people call it rabbit food as I'm eating it, but to me, I love it, and I would choose that over other lunches any day.
Do you like dressing? Like I love balsamic, that's my favorite.
Honey mustard is my favorite.
Ooh, honey mustard's good.
Yeah.
Who do you hang out with? Do you hang out with anyone from RB?
No, but I feel like I do because you know, I love attending all of the events that the students are involved in at RB. I try to make it to every athletic team's event, whether you know it's a match or a tournament once in their season, but then go to all the extracurriculars at too. So I'm like constantly seeing different staff members at those events and talking to them in addition to talking to students. So I feel like I hang out with them all the time.
Yeah, it's the one thing that students I've heard love about you is that you always come to events. You're more involved than like past principals. Yeah.
When you go to like the sporting events or like the extracurriculars, are you like really into it? Do you like cheer when they score a touchdown or something?
I cheer, but I try to be a little more reserved, especially at volleyball games, because I used to coach volleyball. It's really hard for me, you know, not to get really passionate about the games. But, you know, I just love seeing what the students are involved in and seeing them outside of the school. So
that's cool. Well, thank you for being here today on Talk the Talk, and that will be all for today.
We'll be right back with Donna Baer right after these messages. Welcome back to Talk the Talk. Here we have author Donna Baer.
Welcome. We were going to start out talking about your childhood and your interests. What were your interests as a child?
Well, when I was young, I did enjoy writing. That was something that was a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed creating worlds and trying to write persuasively and emotionally. And then I got to junior high and high school, and all of a sudden, I was forced to write about things I didn't like or didn't care about or that didn't interest me. And so in junior high and high school, I stopped writing. I didn't want anything to do with it. In fact, I disliked writing so much that when I went to college, I chose biology as my major because I knew I wouldn't have to write any papers. And so I went all through college. I studied biology and chemistry and physics and calculus and got a science degree because I hated writing, which is ironic because now that is what I do a lot of.
Great motivation.
Right, right. So yes, if you're in high school and you find that you dislike writing, it might be that you dislike what you have to write about. And you might get to a point in your life where you really think you have something to say, and then you might discover that there's a muse inside of you. There might be a writer in there.
Oh, cool.
So really you were like a big fan of creative writing? Basically.
I enjoyed that very much. It was sort of a creative outlet. It was sort of fun to play with words and to create imaginary scenes, or even to write poems that would kind of create an emotional sense. I thought that was a lot of fun until junior high.
Forced to write things you don't like.
Right, who wants to write about Wuthering Heights? Nobody.
What were some people that influenced you, like professors, parent, anyone?
Well, many of the books I write, some of my books are about family and about family life. So of course my parents were a huge influence, and my parents are funny Irish people. They have a great sense of humor, a great work ethic, but they know how to laugh about the hard parts of life, and they taught me a lot about getting through trouble by having a good sense of humor and just dropping my shoulder and getting to work. And so a lot of what I write comes from what they taught me, not through sitting down and going through a book, but just living life. So they taught me a lot about the content of the books that I wrote. And then I had one teacher in high school who taught me how to write well, and I hated him. He was the hardest teacher I ever had, Mr. Thomas, and he insisted on perfection. And he would have us write and write and write. We'd have an essay a week due, And if they weren't perfect, we'd have to rewrite them. If they had a misspelling, he would fail us. I was not used to failing papers, but he would fail me over and over again. And he would do something that I don't know if teachers still do, but if you wrote a particularly bad paper, he would read it to the whole class.
Oh, gosh.
Highlighting your misspellings. And I hated that class, and I hated writing, but he did turn me into a good writer. I no longer misplace modifiers, and I don't mix tenses. He was a good teacher in that sense. So I appreciate him, and I'm grateful for what he taught me, but I did not enjoy the experience.
Having to rewrite one paper just because of one misplacement.
Oh,
yes, yes. It was, yes. And that was before the day of Word and word processors and computers, so it was all handwritten. And oh, that was way before spell check. Our spell check was called a dictionary.
Could you tell us about the publishing process?
Well, sure. Well, my books are self-published, and I chose to be self-published. I had some contacts in the publishing world, but publishing has changed. Publishing books has changed, especially now with so much available online and so many other options and people not choosing to buy physical books very much anymore. The publishing world has changed, and so if you are published with a traditional publisher, that publisher really expects you to do all your own marketing, all your own sales, all your own publicity, and take most of the profit. So I thought, what's wrong with this picture? I thought, let me publish it myself. I'm going to do the publicity and the marketing and the promotion, but I'll keep most of the royalties for myself. And so I chose self-publishing, but that was a steep learning curve to move up. And I was a mom home with little babies. I didn't know much about how the publishing world worked, but there are a lot of great resources online, and I taught myself how to write a book, how to edit a book, how to publish it, how to create a cover. So I learned how to do it myself, but there are great resources online for learning those things. And you know, that's the great thing about the education you guys are getting. Right? You're not just learning content, you're learning how to learn. And so if you want to know how to do something, you can figure it out. Nobody has to sit down and teach you. You figure it out yourself.
Yeah, and the fact that you did that, you know, you must be very fulfilling and very independent, you know.
It is. Yeah. It's a great feeling at the end of the day to see you have a finished work product. Of course, if you're a writer, or probably you guys would appreciate it, you're your own harshest critic. Yes. And so no matter what you produce, no matter if it's a basketball game you're playing or a television show you're creating, you're going to look at it and you'll be the harshest critic there is. But that's good. That's how we get better. It's better than having your paper read out loud in front of your whole class.
Definitely.
Constructive criticism is the best.
That's right. That's right.
So I was wondering if you could talk to us about Strong Happy Sons and Strong Happy Family.
Sure. So Strong Happy Family came first, and I'm a mom of 10 kids.
Oh wow!
And
that's a lot.
it is a lot, and it was really my full-time job and really my calling. It was something I loved to do. And as some of my kids were getting older, I'd get asked to speak often at moms groups or bigger events, and people would want me to tell my story and just give advice about how do you raise a family, how do you feed 12 people a day, how do you get laundry done, how do you teach children to obey, all these things. And whenever I was done speaking, people would say, oh, you should really write a book. And I thought, oh, right, I'm never going to write a book. And about 5 years ago, my father-in-law with Alzheimer's moved in with us, and I found myself kind of tethered to the home. I wasn't really able to get out very much, so I thought, maybe this is the time I should sit down and write a book. And so that's what I did. So this is a book about raising a big family with maybe advice and suggestions for people who have a smaller family. And then, of course, if you look carefully at the picture, you'll see that many of these children of mine are boys. Of my 10 kids, 8 of them are sons.
Oh, wow.
And so I thought, well, let me write just a particular book about raising boys. And I think a lot of moms struggle with raising boys because they're not boys. They're not boys. So they're not familiar with how guys think. And so this is a book to help moms understand the male mind, at least the young male mind.
Yeah, that would help. There's so many moments where I want my mom to be like, Can you be on the same page with me?
Right, thinking like a girl, Mom.
I'm not a girl.
It's a
Be
guy
on my
thing.
be on my
Right.
side for once.
Right, see the world through my eyes. So that's, the book is an attempt to do that.
Well, we're gonna have
Okay.
to wrap it up for now.
Very good.
Thank you for watching Talk the Talk. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Talk the Talk. With us right now is Crane Baer.
Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us, what do you do?
Well, so I mean, to every passion in life, you know, you need to have the groundwork for that to start. So my day job, I'm a life insurance agent, but in the evenings, on weekends, I am a fusion crooner, which is essentially a mix of rock and roll, jazz, blues, all mixed together in a soulful, romantic blend.
Okay.
When you were, did this start in like your childhood? Your interest in fusion crooning? Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right. I mean, it started when it basically started when I was 6 years old. I was at a swim meet, and we didn't have we didn't have the CD player working for us that played the national anthem, and so with no music, we thought that we were just gonna go on with the meet. But I decided to get up out of the water, dry myself up, grab a microphone, and just belt out the national anthem, Pavarotti-esque version of it. So
I don't know if I got to do that.
yeah.
So was that basically like your first singing encounter when you had to do that? Or?
Yeah, that's basically how it started. I mean, from there, I was in musicals and choir, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, where was your first gig?
Well, the first gig I ever had was actually over at the Salt Creek Wine Bar, and it was, and that's located in Brookfield. I believe it's off of Fairfield Drive. For those who are of age to go there. But yeah, I was sitting in watching a show of B.B. King's daughter, Cheryl King, and unfortunately she was having a less than great performance. So it was kind of tanking pretty bad, and she was having different people come up on stage singing with her. I remember her asking us to sing the song "My Girl." And so it got to me, my part singing "My Girl," and the show had already tanked at this point. So I politely asked her, "Miss King, audience, if it's all right with you, I'd actually like to sing a little bit of Frank Sinatra." So during Miss King's show, I just started singing, and people liked it, and the owner of the bar liked it, and from there I got more gigs. So it was kind of a very strange way to start it off, but it just kind of happened spontaneously.
Where's your favorite place to perform?
Well, the place that I've performed the most has been Salt Creek Wine Bar. Okay. I don't know. I just really like the aesthetic appeal of it. I don't really like performing up on high stages. For whatever reason, I like performing next to the crowd. Just
more involved, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you come to my shows, you'll see it's a very interactive experience. I mean, yeah, I just like to make everyone feel comfortable, when doing these shows.
Mm-hmm. What audience size do you like to have?
Well, I mean, the more the merrier. A larger crowd. I definitely see myself more like the Energizer Bunny. When there's when there is a larger crowd, I just really feed off it. I like to think of myself as a mix of Frank Sinatra and Mick Jagger up on stage. So I just really get into it when there's a larger crowd. When there's not a larger crowd, that's when you really got to dig deep. That's when you really got to think about it as every performance that you do, you are performing as if there's 100 people there, 1,000 people there. So sometimes you have to close your eyes in order to do that. You have to picture the people there.
So I'm guessing during a larger audience, you get more of that adrenaline.
Absolutely.
Feeding off of the crowd, giving you the cheers, the clapping along while you're singing.
Absolutely.
It's like your battery, right?
More into
exactly.
It. Energizer
yeah,
bunny
it just goes. Just goes right up. Yeah.
So who inspired you?
Well, she actually still works here to this day. The amazing, legendary jazz vocalist Diane Morelli. And she introduced me to the stylings of the Rat Pack. So we would have full choral productions where they needed a soloist, or where she needed a soloist. And every time I heard Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin sing, I said, "Oh, I could do that." And so yeah, I volunteered all the time, and doing the shows in high school, it kind of transcended to what I'm doing today.
So for some tips for people that are going to be going into something that you're going to in the music industry, give them some tips for like stage fright.
Sure. Well, probably the best tip I have for stage fright is that when you are about to get up on the stage, or in my situation, get onto the floor, closing your eyes, taking your time to internalize what you're about to be doing. Don't think so much about the people who are there or aren't there in the situation. Just really take time to meditate on doing the best performance you can.
So we're nearing the end of the show, and we were wondering if you could sing to our guests a song.
Sure. Yeah, I could do that. Where should I?
Right there.
Okay. So like I said, I'm a life insurance agent, and sometimes when closing when closing a deal at the end of it, I then ask them if they'd like to hear a song. So this is one that I perform frequently to them. Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Yes, you're lovely, with your smile so warm and your cheek so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you and the way you look tonight. I could do more, but they get the idea.
Oh, it was good.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, and if anyone's looking to see me in the near future, my shows are great for a romantic night out. I mean, you guys are a little bit young for that, but I'm just joking. But yeah, I'm gonna be performing all over the place for St. Patrick's Day and Valentine's Day. I'm working on some Christmas shows right now as well.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching Talk the Talk.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I want to thank all of the guests for coming on the show today. I'm Brandan Ouadi.
I'm Nicholas Corrino. See you next time on Talk the Talk.